Depression is the most prevalent mental illness in the United States with over 280 million cases a year. Most of you probably have or have known someone who suffers from depression in their lifetime. In fact, 1 out of 20 children are likely to experience depression in their lifetime. So, what causes depression? Well, that's not really a simple question with a simple answer. There's lots of reasons, from genetics to trauma, but one of the main reasons I believe in modern day society is our lack of social clubs and communities. So, with this speech, I want to persuade all of you to find a community or a club or some sort of social activity that you can get involved in, that you can learn to socialize with others. So, what exactly is depression? Well, the Mayo Clinic defines it as a medical illness that causes persistent feelings of sadness and loss of interest. And Columbia School of Public Health quotes, "Depression is on the rise in the US. So why?" Well, on January 30th, 2020, a virus began to spike global concern in the entire world. This would cause the entire world to go into quarantine and isolate themselves for many months. Although this wasn't the first tragedy to occur in the world, this was one of the first ones where we all had to deal with it alone and didn't have the support of others. In the article Pandemic Can Trigger Depression by Sean Glover, quotes, "When confronted by shared suffering, human contact is healing. It awakens humanity in us." Although COVID-19 has had many great things, one of those being our ability to contact each other online, right? Communicate with each other virtually through Zoom classes and Zoom meetings. With that, there's also been a negative side, which is it's easier for us to isolate themselves with Zoom and everything else. Throughout history, communities have been a way of survival. An example of this is 9/11. When 9/11 happened in Manhattan, people went together in the streets of Manhattan to mourn the tragedy that occurred, together as a community. When COVID happened, we didn't have that. We all had to be on our own. Different types of clubs throughout history have often been a way of survival. One of the most popular ways communities have been brought together is actually churches. Now, I'm not religious, and I'm not here to try to persuade anyone to be religious, but you can't really deny that throughout history, communities, or churches have been one of the most prevalent ways communities have been brought together. And in the article, 1950s Powerful Year of Religion, by Carol Tucker, she quotes, "In the 1960s, about 63% of the population actually attended church, but in 2022, only about 12% of the population attends church." So this is actually a quilting club that a woman used to attend all the time back in the day, and this was very prevalent, and often quilts would be given to the communities and handed out as a way to support each other, especially during the Depression. This one's less serious. This is a Tupperware party, which were very prevalent in the 1950s and 60s, where essentially women would get together and share Tupperware and try to sell it. But again, it was a community, and it was a way for each other to get together and communicate with each other. So why do we need socialization? Well, in the article, Socialization, How It Benefits Mental and Physical Health, quotes, "Direct person-to-person contact actually triggers a cocktail of neurotransmitters tasked with regulating stress and anxiety." So when we're actually physically around people, we are releasing neurotransmitter and hormones that we don't get released when we're just talking to someone through a screen or we're communicating online. Communicating to someone in actual physical concept creates hormones and reduces stress and anxiety. Also, communicating with each other in person has actually shown to decrease symptoms of depression in those already dealing with depression. So a lot of times when you're depressed, people have known to isolate themselves and not want to leave the house. But when you're forced to leave the house and you're forced to communicate with others, it's actually shown to do the opposite and cause a lot of positive feedback in your brain, creating and lessening those depression symptoms. Social isolation, in the article Social Isolation and Mental Health, quotes, the role of in the article, Social Isolation, Mental Health, Role of Non-Directive Social Support, quotes, when social support was factored in, anxiety was actually reduced. So a lot of times when we are having a lot of anxiety, just being around other people can help reduce that and connecting with people about that anxiety that we're feeling. So why is this important to you? Why do you care about anxiety and depression and all that? Well, suicide is actually the 4th leading cause of death from ages 15 to 29. So that's very common for almost everyone in this room. And lack of social activity severely causes severe depression. So it's important that everyone has the ability to get out there and communicate with each other to help us with that depression and anxiety that we are feeling. In the article, Social Relationships with Depression, quotes, those with highest quality social relationships actually had only about a 6% chance of developing depression compared to those who had a low quality relationship with others. So before I go, I want to leave you all with a job. I want all of you to find a source of communication with others, whether that's a community, a club, a social activity that you can find that can connect with other people, right? It can be going to the library or going to a cafe to study every day where you can start to see the same people. It can be a club, right? It could be a sports activity. It can be anything, but as long as you're getting that connection with others, right? Sometimes even just being around other people can help us, not talking to them. That can be a lot to a lot of people, having to connect and talk, especially to someone who's already in a place who suffers from extreme anxiety. So having that ability to just sit and talk with other people, or sit and just be with other people can really help. So a club, a church, or going to church if that's what you like, anything like that can really help. Because all of us have the potential to suffer from a mental illness like depression in our lifetime. And I want everyone to have the chance to experience community. Thank you.